But we ought to be busy about preparing for his coming. And if you would not understand that even in this text, it follows, what precedes it is the virgins that were to be ready for the coming of the Lord. So in the parable of the virgin, we are taught the great necessity of individual readiness when Christ comes. That's what that parable was about. And this parable teaches the need of trading with his gifts till he come. Jesus commanded, he said, occupy until I come. So for church, what we need to be motivated by the fact that while we got this waiting period, while we're here waiting. See, you ain't got to wait about being saved. You should be already saved. That is, unless you're not saved. But in the meantime, we are to be busy with the gifts that God has given us. Now, it's unfortunate that we always think that only the gifts that are outstanding and major and everybody, put you in the top of the list and everybody look at you and all that. We think that's the gift that we need to seek. Not so. You got to understand that God is the distributor of the gifts. Jesus is the distributor of the gift. And you are to be satisfied with what you get. So in this particular talent subject, we see an accountability. Now watch this. Listen to me now. When you're a servant of God, he don't assign you a task and you are the one to foot the bill. When you're assigned the task, God take care of you. We have to be careful with our gifts. God, listen, the gifts are not given for your profit. Gifts are given to profit withal. In other words, what God invests in you, it's not for you. It ain't your pocket. It's not for your claim. It's not for you to brag about. It's not for you to stand up and think that you're some great I am person. It is always for those of which is a part of the kingdom, or those who ought to come into the kingdom. Whichever way God do it, that's why he give it. He doesn't leave it up to man. And so his servants, I wish I had somebody up in here. So he says, he comes and after a long time, it's God's grace period that this, after a long time, is significant. It's God's grace period that he gives you to get it right, to be accountable for whatever. It ain't about money. It's about the gifts that he imparted into you. And every one of us have a measure of faith. We have a gift because of the measure of faith. If you didn't, how did you get saved? You may not be as mature as someone else, but you ought to be like the disciples. Lord, increase our faith in this grace period. Lord, let me be better than I was last year in this grace period. Let me do just a little bit more in this grace period. It has nothing to do with how much. It ain't nothing to do with quantity. It ain't nothing to do with how many ministries you involved with. It had nothing to do with how many auxiliaries you belong to or how many choirs you sing in. It has nothing to do with quantity. It has much to do with quality. What do you do with the one talent that God has given you? And don't tell me you don't have one. You got one, because if you accepted Jesus Christ as your Savior, you got the greatest gift that the world has ever known. And since you have accepted Christ, what have you done for him lately?